We're kicking off with WWE, and at Saturday night's main event, Finn Balor will challenge Gunther for the World Heavyweight title in a huge opportunity for the Judgment Day to finish out 2024. Now, ahead of this showdown, WrestleVotes reports that Balor could be in for a huge year in 2025 after establishing himself as a locker room leader over the past year or so. Balor recently marked a decade since his debut in NXT, and the report adds that fans can expect a sustained singles push for Finn as we head into 2025. Balor is already one half of the World Tag Team Champions with JD McDonough and has held gold in the past, including becoming the first Universal Champion at SummerSlam 2016. Unfortunately, an injury ended Balor's reign after just one day, and fans remain hopeful that a fully fledged world title run will come one day for the Irish superstar. As WWE heads into a new year and a new era on Netflix, Balor seems poised to take center stage again, and as he begins his second decade with WWE, fans are eager to see what's next. Do you think Finn Balor is ready to reclaim a world title in WWE? Please share your thoughts and feedback in the comments section below. We've got some unfortunate news about Rikishi to share now, as the former WWE Hall of Famer has had to pull out of a planned event due to health issues. On Instagram, NostalgiaCon shared the sad news that Rikishi would not be appearing at their event and explained why by saying, "We have some good news for one of our guests, but some bad news first. Rikishi has fallen ill and was unable to travel. Please wish him a quick recovery. With both wrestlers canceling due to medical needs, we understand this is a large disappointment for wrestling fans. We still have a great and entertaining group of wrestlers that will be performing live each day. We will be bringing huge wrestling stars to our 2025 show to make up for this late cancellation. That's a promise." Rikishi has been very vocal about the bloodline on WWE TV as of late, and has been promoting his appearance at the con just a few days before he was pulled. It's certainly disappointing for fans that the Hall of Famer won't be able to attend, and we're wishing the former Intercontinental Champion a very speedy recovery. Now, Jade Cargill has been missing from WWE TV following an attack in the parking lot, but there's been plenty of conflicting information on whether she's actually injured. Ahead of her WWE Women's United States Championship title match, Cargill was written off TV with the attack, with reports at the time saying she was legitimately hurt and would be out for 3 months or more. Another report later stated that she was not actually injured, and this was just part of a storyline, but now a new report from Fightful Select has added a new layer to this mystery. The report states that Cargill is listed internally on the injured list, and that several sources within WWE claim the Women's Tag Team Champion is actually hurt. At this time, there's no confirmation on when exactly Cargill will be back, but the 3 months window first reported would put her comeback during WrestleMania season. Cargill has been a prominent feature in WWE since the Royal Rumble this year, and what do you make of her injury? Do you think it's just a storyline? Share your thoughts in the comments. The world of professional wrestling never lacks drama, and CM Punk's name has often been at the heart of it. Recent headlines have brought Ryan Nemeth into the spotlight, with allegations surfacing following his exit from AEW. According to reports, Ryan Nemeth formally filed a complaint with AEW executives regarding CM Punk, with the details shared in our video released yesterday. Brian Alvarez of Wrestling Observer Radio later reported that Nemeth stated Chris Peck offered him a settlement worth 3 years of his salary after he submitted his timeline of events to AEW. However, the offer was contingent on Nemeth signing a non-disclosure agreement, or NDA. Nemeth claimed the situation took a turn when his legal team advised him that the period for negotiating a deal had ended, as AEW had pulled their offer. Although Nemeth appreciated the initial proposal, he was later informed by his legal counsel that it was no longer on the table. Ryan Nemeth alleged that Chris Peck warned him he would be placed in an antagonistic position to Mega if arbitration ever occurred, despite Nemeth having a positive working relationship with Mega Perek. Additionally, Nemeth claimed that Peck threatened legal action against him for submitting the timeline as part of his complaint. Nemeth emphasized in his complaint that Peck's warnings about a strained relationship with Perek and the potential for legal repercussions were key concerns. Interestingly, Dave Meltzer noted that these events unfolded shortly before Mega Perek quietly exited her role as AEW's head of legal. Reflecting on her departure, Meltzer remarked, "To this day, nobody's ever said what happened. She was just gone. I knew she was gone, and she never came back." The situation offers a deeper glimpse into the controversy surrounding CM Punk's time in AEW. The revelations paint a complex picture of backstage dynamics and legal maneuvering within the company. What's your take on these developments? Are you surprised by these new details? Share your thoughts and feedback in the comments below. Back in 2015, Sonya Deville arrived on WWE TV as part of Tough Enough, and over the past 9 years, the former women's tag champion has had hundreds of matches with the company. This week, Deville was part of a drama on social media which began when Deville lamented not being part of the ongoing Women's Intercontinental Championship tournament. When a fan mocked Deville, saying she'd get the opportunities she seeks when she gets better in the ring, Deville fired back by stating, "Hey Chad with 80 followers talking about weird on your timeline that I'm not gonna repeat. I could twist you into a pretzel, you wouldn't know which way was up or down. It's not that hard." Fans loved Deville clapping back at Chad, who has just 80 followers, but things took a turn when Deville responded to another critic of her work in the ring. "You know what's hilarious about this? I've had 5-star matches before, and I'll have them again. While I've been working my ass off to get there after some setbacks, you sit in a secondhand gaming chair in your parents' basement eating hot Cheetos and picking your nose." This tweet gained traction with fans questioning what matches she's had that were 5-star classics, while others defended her passion and confidence in her skills. This tweet was ultimately deleted with no explanation given as to why, though perhaps someone felt that the digs at the fan at the end of the tweet were not becoming of a WWE star. Whatever the reason, the tweet is gone, and while Deville won't be the first Women's Intercontinental Champion, the former MMA fighter isn't holding back either in the ring or online. On Raw, the Wyatt Six has been feuding with the Final Testament, with Karrion Kross haunting Scarlett during a recent edition of the Red Brand. The two factions have traded shots at each other both in the ring and on social media, and this week, the Wyatt Six had some choice words for their enemies. On Twitter, the faction shared a distorted image of Karrion Kross, saying that he begged for our attention and now you drown in the consequences of getting it. The feud has seen The Miz thrown into this mix, as after being kidnapped by the Wyatt Six, the A-lister has backed to the Final Testament in their efforts to destroy their enemies. With that said, Miz told Kathy Kelly on Raw that his involvement is a simple misunderstanding, and there's no reason for him to be involved in what's been going on. But what do you think? Have you been enjoying this feud of factions on Raw? And how do you see things ending up? Share your predictions down below. Over to AEW, as Tony Khan has never shied away from pop culture tie-ins, whether it be the Texas Chainsaw Massacre or Yazuka Like a Dragon. Fans will remember the Elite dressing as the Ghostbusters a few years back, but fans who attend Dynamite tapings will know that Khan has a soft spot for the sci-fi classic Time Hop. When the Dynamite taping transitions into the Rampage taping, Khan often references the movie's theme of being in two places at once, and now a TimeCop match could be in the works. On the Battleground podcast, Khan was asked about possibly having a match inspired by the Jean-Claude Van Damme flick, and was all for it. He said, "I would love to do that. That's definitely in our future. We've revitalized the popularity of a classic film. TimeCop is not just a cult classic, it's also the biggest commercial success of Jean-Claude Van Damme's career. The only $100 million movie he ever did, and for good reason. It's an excellent film, and it applies sometimes to the world of wrestling when most of the shows are live, but sometimes you tape them and you're in two places at once." TimeCop was released in September 1994 and cemented the legacy of Van Damme, no relation to Rob Van Dam, and the film has developed a cult following that Khan is clearly a part of. No TimeCop match has been announced yet, but Khan's comments have sparked speculation and excitement in the latest example of pop culture blending into the world of pro wrestling. Would you like to see AEW dive into the world of TimeCop with a themed match? Please share your thoughts and feedback in the comments section below. Now, WWE has a lot of things in the works right now, including the impending move to Netflix, which will open up a lot of possibilities for how shows are taped. In the past, WWE has needed to air shows outside of the United States on a pre-taped basis, but in theory, that won't be an issue anymore after the move. After all, the technology exists to air any show live on TV, and it's reported that Netflix is considering this no matter where the show in question takes place on the planet. The only thing that had kept WWE from doing this was their TV home, but this won't be an issue next month, and WWE already has big plans for overseas episodes of their weekly content. WWE will air 6 Raw shows and SmackDown from Europe in early 2025, and these episodes of the Red Brand will air a little bit sooner in the US than fans are used to. Mike Johnson of PW Insider adds that WWE sources have confirmed plans to broadcast Raw live weekly on Netflix regardless of the location. That means that a show that takes place in the evening in the UK, for example, will stream live in the afternoon in the US instead of fans in the States having to wait for hours. He explained, "So if and when the company is taping in Europe, Raw will stream live in the United States at the same time, no matter the time differences. The plan is to have the show air live as it happens and then be available via video on demand as soon as possible after it goes off the air. There will no longer be a tape delay waiting for 8 p.m. Eastern, so when WWE tours Europe leading up to WrestleMania 41, those shows would air live in the United States in the afternoon. Time will tell what other things change when Raw moves to Netflix, as the show will also be without the censorship of TV ratings, which may open up a lot of new creative possibilities." That said, Nick Khan has vehemently shut down the idea that Raw will be rated R, and we'll just have to see how viewing habits change once the big change comes on January 6th. The wait is over. Penta El Cero Miedo is no longer part of All Elite Wrestling, as the former AEW World Champion has been removed from the company's roster page, solidifying his departure. Reports suggest that Penta's contract expired earlier this month, leaving him as a free agent. While fans eagerly speculate about his next chapter, one thing is clear: his brother and tag team partner Rey Fenix won't be joining him on the way out. Due to injury time added to his contract, Fenix remains under AEW's banner until at least 2025, despite no current plans for his active use. As one of AEW's most electrifying stars, Penta's exit raises big questions. Will he reunite with Fenix in another promotion down the line, or is a solo journey on the horizon? The wrestling world is watching closely. What's your take on Penta's next move? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Next weekend, WWE will host its first Saturday Night's Main Event PLE in 16 years, with reports that the show will have a vintage theme in honor of the early events of the 1980s. According to WrestleVotes Radio, WWE has been discussing bringing in legends for the show, with speculation being that Hulk Hogan, who headlined the first event in 1985, will appear. This comes after reports that Jimmy Hart will appear at next week's show in Uniondale, and as a longtime ally of the Hulkster, we can't count out Hart appearing side by side with Hogan. WWE is also reportedly reaching out to Wendy Richter for an appearance, who was also part of the first Saturday Night's Main Event. And what do you make of these potential appearances? Let us know below. As previously reported, the status of The Rock for WrestleMania 41 is up in the air, with WWE's creative team currently working on the idea that he won't be coming to Las Vegas. In an update from PW Insider, though, WWE's creative team is reportedly working on a wait-and-see approach, showing they haven't given up on the final boss just yet. The report adds that if The Rock wants to do something, then it'll happen, showing the immense influence that the Great One has, thanks to his star power in and out of wrestling. While WWE's creative team might not have a firm Rock-centric storyline in place yet, they will work to make one, depending on what The Rock himself plans on doing in April of next year. But what's your take on this? Would you like to see The Rock at WrestleMania 41? And if so, what role would you like to see him in? Share your thoughts down in the comments below. A few years ago, WWE introduced the Iron Survivor Challenge in NXT, a new concept that blends the stagnated entries of a Royal Rumble with the point scoring of an Iron Man match. One man familiar with both match types is Shawn Michaels, and on the No Contest Wrestling podcast, Trick Williams shared that HBK was the mastermind behind the Iron Survivor Challenge. Williams won the Men's Iron Survivor Challenge last year and will be keeping a close eye on this weekend's match, a bout that would have not existed had it not been for the Heartbreak Kid. In wrestling, the topic of a locker room leader is often brought up, as there's always a wrestler or wrestlers who keep everyone in line and keep things running smoothly. Since his return to WWE in 2022, Cody Rhodes has been one of the promotion's top stars, and this week, Rhodes shared who are the locker room leaders of today's roster. Speaking to Jazzy TV, Rhodes shared that Bayley and Randy Orton are the so-called captains of WWE today and are reliable in whatever role they're needed in. Rhodes explained, "Here's the thing, I don't think people know about Bayley. She's probably the actual current locker room leader. Like if you got a captain, you know, the C on the jersey, it's probably her and Randy Orton in terms of, you need something done, hey, such and such doesn't need to be late anymore, hey, we need the energy for this show, she's the locker room leader and she should be. Bayley has certainly done plenty for the women's division, as she was part of the call to introduce tag titles, as well as the recently launched US and Intercontinental gold. The role model clearly wants the division to flourish, so it should come as no surprise that she's a locker room leader, a role that Rhodes clearly finds fitting for the former women's champion. Eric Bischoff was part of this week's NXT, where he oversaw a segment between Trick Williams and Ridge Holland ahead of their NXT title showdown at Deadline. The segment resulted in a brawl, one that Bischoff watched from the corner of the ring, but fans eager to see more of EZE will be disappointed with the latest update. Sportskeeda's Dr. Chris Featherstone reports that Bischoff's NXT appearance was a one-off, and he's not currently scheduled for any upcoming WWE shows at this time. While Bischoff will likely appear for WWE again, there's no word on when that'll be, and fans shouldn't expect to see him reappear on the Silver brand anytime soon. In AEW, few wrestlers have been pushed in 2024 more than Hologram, who has yet to be pinned or submitted since arriving in the company back in July. Hologram's most recent AEW match came at WrestleDream, where he went 15-0 with a victory over the Beast Mortos, but now his push has seen a serious detour. Fightful Select reports that Hologram sustained a serious ankle injury shortly after WrestleDream, which has put plans to feature him in AEW's new Mexican TV deal on hold. Hologram was set to play a major role in growing AEW outside the US, but that won't be happening just yet, and there's no timetable on when fans can expect him in the ring. In his absence, AEW has introduced a masked luchador called Harleygram, which after weeks of speculation and theories was shockingly revealed to be Harley Cameron. As for Hologram, we're wishing him a speedy recovery, as the masked star's momentum has taken a serious hit due to this unfortunate setback. And we're ending with Athena, who after her time on WWE's main roster didn't pan out as many had hoped, has made herself the unquestionable top woman in Ring of Honor. Athena holds the record for the longest reign of any champion in the 22-year history of ROH, though not everyone is thrilled by the booking of the War Goddess. On his Hall of Fame podcast, Booker T, who trained Athena, spoke out about many talent in AEW being sidelined despite having the skills to be on TV. He said, "One thing about AEW is they have an abundance of talent, a plethora of talent in that company. But when you don't know who they are, who they're working with, or why they're working, it can be very, very confusing to watch the show." Booker specifically highlights Athena, who for all her success in ROH, he feels has been relegated to a subdivision of AEW. He explained, "Look at someone like Athena. I would imagine, though I could be wrong, that Athena would fit right into the AEW women's roster. She's just as good, if not better, than anybody on that roster, but instead, they stick her in a box and put her in Ring of Honor." Booker didn't stop there, as he's also took issue with AEW's approach to storytelling and used a recent women's tournament as an example. Take, for example, the tournament they just had with the women. There were so many different organizations involved that it was hard to grasp the concept. Is this AEW, or is it a bunch of different groups working together? That kind of thing. Booker added that he doesn't know what Tony Khan's concepts are, but if he were running AEW and saw the ratings dropping, he'd be getting some help or shutting it down. Athena's sidelining is a symptom of what Booker considers a huge problem in AEW, that there's too much talent and not enough clear direction for the stacked roster. As much as Athena has thrived in AEW, it means that fans almost never see her on AEW's televised shows, raising questions as to whether Khan is using his roster to its fullest potential. Do you agree with Booker T's take on how AEW is handling its talent? Should stars like Athena be moved back to the main roster? Share your thoughts and feedback in the comments section.